In today's video, you will learn how to draft a full circle skirt pattern from scratch. This video will show in detail how to take accurate measurements for the skirt, how to find the radius, and then how to draft the skirt step by step. This project is perfect for beginners, so don't worry if you are an absolute beginner. Everyone, welcome back to Curve&stitch. Let's get started. A circle skirt is basically a big donut shape where the hole in the middle is the waistline. To draft it, you need just two measurements, your waist circumference and desired skirt length measurement. But before taking your measurements, you need these basic tools: paper, pencil, ruler, curve ruler, a calculator, scissors, then a measuring tape. Now that we have our basic tools, let's go ahead and take our measurements. We will need our waist circumference measurement. Measure your natural waist. This is usually the smallest part of your torso, just above your belly button, in between your rib cage and your hip bone. Look for the smallest part and measure by wrapping the tape around that area firmly, not too loose and not too tight. The measurement should be such that it will be comfortable for you to breathe, sit or walk comfortably in the skirt. Now that we've located the waistline, measure from this area the desired skirt length. So you measure from there down to where you want the skirt to stop. Maybe you want it to get to the knee, you measure from the waist down to the knee. So wherever you want your skirt to stop, you measure to that place. This will be the skirt length that you'll be using. So in this illustration, I'll be using waist of 26 inches. And skirt length of 21 inches. You will be drafting a quarter of the full circle. Use this formula. Radius is equal to waist divided by 2 pi, where 2 pi is equal to 6.28. It will be easier if you memorize the 2 pi number because you always divide your waist circumference by this 6.25 whenever you are drafting a full circle skirt. This formula gives you the radius of the waistline curve. We need the radius of the waist circle. To draft a circle skirt, take your waist circumference measure, then divide it by 6.28. Whatever you get will be your radius. So in this illustration, I used 26 as my waist circumference. So 26 divided by 6.28 is equal to 4.14 inches. This 4.14 inches will be the radius we will be using to draft the waistline or the waist circle for the skirt. Now, to draft our skirt pattern, we need to fold our pattern paper in half like so. Then in half again to make a quarter like so. Now from the folded corner, that's the center, measure out your radius. So in this case, the radius you are using is 4.14. So measure and mark 4.14 and make multiple dots in an arc like so. Then connect these dots to create the waist curve like so. Now that we've gotten our waist curve, from this waist curve, we are going to measure the desired length of the skirt. So, from the waist curve, measure and mark your desired skirt length measurement. So, in this case, we are using 21 inches. So, measure and mark 21 inches from the waist curve downward like so.
Mark several points so that it will be easier to draw the curve later on. Now connect the marks to create an arc for the hemline like so.
If you are creating a seamless pattern, then you can go ahead and cut your skirt pattern, but we will be going further to be adding a seam allowance to the skirt.
So you can add your hem allowance in two different ways. You can either mark from the hemline, then you measure and mark the amount of allowance you want to add to the hem. So in this case, I'm adding 1 inch hem allowance. So from the hemline, the original hemline, I'll measure 1 inch and mark like so. Or from the waist, you can measure and mark the skirt length plus hem allowance and mark like so. So in this case, I'm marking 22 since the length of the skirt is 21 and I'm adding 1 inch to it. So I'll be marking 22 inches. The purpose of the hem allowance is to be able to fold the hem of the skirt for a clean finish without affecting the length of the skirt. The amount of hem allowance to add is dependent on what finish you want to go for. If you are going to turn it with an interfacing, you may add ½ inch for hem allowance. Join the allowance mark to create the allowance curve like so. I'm using a different color to differentiate the original hem line from the hem allowance line.
On the waist curve, we are going to add ½ inch seam allowance to it. So from the waist curve, we are measuring ½ inch upward to create the seam allowance just like so. This seam allowance is what will be used to sew or attach our waistband to the skirt. Now our circle skirt pattern is ready. Let's go ahead and cut it out. We will cut along the seam allowance line, not the measurement lines. Now the total length of the skirt is 22.5 inches. The extra ½ inch we added at the waist is for waist seam allowance, and the 1 inch down at the bottom is for the hem allowance. So after sewing everything, we'll get back to the 21 inches we originally planned. Was this video helpful? If it was, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more easy sewing tutorials. Comment your opinion or anything you are struggling with in sewing or pattern drafting. Share with others who may find this useful, and press on the bell notification so that you don't miss any video when uploaded. All these videos are part of the skirt series, so the next video will be on how to draft half circle skirt pattern. If you are an absolute beginner and you want to get started in sewing and pattern drafting, I have a playlist that takes you from the very basis of pattern drafting on the channel, so go ahead and check it out. I have also linked it in the description below. Thank you for watching and see you in my next one. Bye bye for now.